Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the Spanish opening, the Ruy Lopez, and this is gonna be a long video. The moves will all be in the description, but this is an incredible opening. Really, really, it is. It is the go-to for every Super GM. Really, it is. Those that play E4 at least that haven't converted to one D4. Uh, and look, it has been explored for forever. It is one of the most in-depth openings you can play, and it can become very complicated. Oh, I've clicked the wrong tab there. We're going to go over to the board, and oh, that's the wrong tab as well. Okay, here's the board. This is what it is. So the Ruy Lopez, not too dissimilar to the Italian that we've already spoken about. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, and now not Bishop to C4, the Italian game, but Bishop to B5, the Ruy Lopez. And here, black has numerous options. We're going to be talking about probably the main two. Now, the first main line is A6. And here, we get bishop to A4. You might ask, wait, hang on. Surely the idea of putting the bishop here is to take the knight and remove the defender of the e-pawn. Yes, you can take this. And this is now classed as the exchange variation, because after takes, you've got this. But what gets played here is castles first. Why castles first? Because if you go here, you run into queen to d4. You run into queen d4, where you hit the knight and the pawn, and you might say, but knight f3. Yeah, but I don't know if you want all of this smoke, because you've got queen e2, and queen takes, king takes, now you've lost the right to castle, and this is just better for black. So, that's why, if you're going to play what we consider to be the exchange variation, you play castles first. So, let's get back. Bishop to a4. See, there's going to be lots of jumping around. So, this is Morphy's defense. The main line with a6 is Morphy's defense. And then here, knight to f6 and castles. You might say, but hang on, doesn't that hang this pawn? Yes. And this is called the open Spanish, if my will take. Now you get d4 and b5, hitting the bishop. Bishop to b3, and d5 securing the knight in the center, but giving up the pawn back. You can't really hold on to the pawn that you gain, because you've got rook e1 that pins this knight first. You've got d4, which wins it back. So this just plays a different variation to the normal pattern. This is the open Spanish. What mostly gets played here is then castles. Not knight takes e4, but bishop to e7. There is also, oh, that's way too far back. Bishop to a4, knight f6, castles, not takes here, but bishop to e7. There is alternatively the Archangels, which Fabiano Caruana has got a course on, I believe, with bishop to c5. I believe this is the Archangels. Yeah, the Neo Archangel, something like that, Archangel, which is really cool. Yeah, so bishop to c5. Anyway, going back, bishop to e7. This is the main line still. Now we get rook e1, defending the pawn. b5, kicking out the bishop. Now I can no longer take the knight and ruin the pawn structure. Bishop b3. d6, getting their light squared bishop out. Now c3, because it's a very similar idea to the Italian game where you want to play d4. You want to really build up and play d4. Now also, if the bishop comes in, you can continue wrapping this bishop around. You don't want to trade it. You want it to be a long-term asset for white in this attack. All good stuff there. Now we get castles. h3, preventing, various pins here. Knight to a5, attacking the bishop. Bishop to c2, and now c5. Not always c5 here in this position. c5 comes with knight to a5, but you don't always have to play it. This is where it really branches out. And that's why the Ruy Lopez is used so often. Because there's also lines, if I'm not mistaken, is d5 what I think it is? No. Okay, it's not what I think it is. Okay, that's just a line. But there is various gambits that black can play. But you get to this kind of position in the closed Ruy Lopez, the main line. This is what it looks like. And now we have to go all the way back. Because none of this could happen. We could get all the way here, and black can elect to try and kill the game with knight to f6. And this is the Berlin defense. Highball. Okay. The Berlin endgame is what we're going to be talking about now for just a second, because it's what's played most on Lichess in the Masters database, castles. Now we have the endgame with knight takes e5, d4, knight d6, bishop takes c6, d takes c6, d takes e5, knight f5, queen takes d8, king takes d8. This is the Berlin endgame. 8 moves of pure theory, and this has been played a lot. And this endgame here, from this position, is studied to death. You know, you've got all these kinds of developing moves, and what black gets is this Berlin wall, and literally a plan for them is to play h4, h5, and bring the rook out. Like, black can really hold. This was used by Vladimir Kramnik to defeat Garry Kasparov. I'm not joking. Like, when Garry Kasparov was at the peak of his powers and he was in a world championship match against Vladimir Kramnik, whatever you may think of him currently, he used this Berlin defense effectively against Garry Kasparov. Now, people who don't want to play the Berlin endgame anymore will not play castles in this position. They will play d3, the anti-Berlin. And then you can play various knight to c3s, you can continue with knight to d2, and then you can castle. But you don't allow the taking of this pawn and the advance into the Berlin endgame. But if we go back to castles, there is also a false draw variation, if I'm not mistaken. d4, knight d6. Now where is it? I think, is it d takes e5? D takes e5, knight takes b5, a4, knight b4, knight takes, queen d4, d5, ed5, yeah, queen d6, and then here you repeat moves. Queen e3, oh, no, bishop, oh, that's not it. And then there's like a repetition that you can force here. Sorry, we've gone down a really random line there. I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, the Berlin endgame. So this is used by black if they want to kill the game. Otherwise, they go for the main line. There is one other move that gets played, and that is the move f5. This is the Schliemann defense, and this is the third most popular move, again according to Lichess Masters database. And at this point you play knight to c3, defending your center, f takes e4, knight takes e4, and knight to f6. Knight takes f6, check, queen takes f6, and this is what you kind of get with like queen to e2, and this is how you would play this. But it can be very tricky, the Schliemann, because you're looking, because if you take, the idea is e4, and you kick the knight back, so you get queen to e2, pitting the knight to the king, but then something like queen e7, now you've got to play bishop takes c6, d takes c6, and knight d4. To get your knight out the way, this is still, I mean, not really pinned, but they could take, and then take. So this is the Schliemann, and it's not easy to play all the time. There are various traps that you can fall into. Yes. Okay. Just a few other moves to make your way. There's like the deferred, what is this? The Qxd8 defense, sorry, with knight Qe7. There is some really bad moves. So you've got knight f6, f5, you've got g6, which is a fianchetto defense. You've got, oh my gosh, you've got knight g7, we spoke about the Qxd8. You've got bishop c5, which is the classical variation. This kind of leads you into more Archangel's kind of stuff. You've got this, the classical variation. You've got bishop b4, you've got queen e7, you've got queen f6, you've got bishop d6. You've got so many moves. That's why this is played. It's so rich as well. And there's all sorts of systems where instead of playing where you decide where this knight goes, sometimes it goes to c3 if you don't want to build for the center. It mostly goes to d2, knight b to d2. You've got to decide whether to trade. There was a line in the main line where here, Jan Nepomniachtchi against Ding Liren, I don't know if any of you will remember this, he played bishop takes. Top game is Hikaru Magnus, Ding Liren Vidit. This has been played. When you take delayed, and then you still play castles in this, or you play d3. And you can decide when to take. It is so rich. I mean, it really is very rich opening. And that's all really I have to say for it. I don't want this video to go on forever. So there will be multiple parts where we will talk about the stuff more in depth to come. This will be the next few weeks. We will be talking about the Spanish game, but let this serve as an introductory video. All the moves in the description down below, and I hope you had a good time.